Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details. With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
What would you say to those USA Rugby constituents who may have some doubts about wanting to trust USA Rugby again?
Yeah, and there's quite a bit of that. And what I would say is give us a chance and allow us to show you. They've heard that before, I'm sure. And what all I can do is be present, be responsive, continue to grow this and prove to them what we're trying to do. I'll just continue to work incredibly hard. Our staff will work hard, and we'll prove it as we move forward. I think you're right. There's a lack of trust, but there's also a massive passion and desire to see us be successful. So no one's rooting for us to fail. Everyone just wants to see us, prove that we can succeed.
Welcome to US Rugby Happy Hour Live. Interviews with the biggest names in American rugby.
The New England Free Jacks, Major League Rugby champions. One-on-one to score.
Here are your hosts, Bill Baker and that other guy.
Fitzy, let's keep it going, right?
Yeah.
I did have a USA Rugby question for Max, but we felt we need to move on, and I could save it for the next guy, I think.
Yeah.
I think he might know
How about that?
one or two things about USA Rugby. Coming up right now, it's actually a great time to find out if there's enough room on this show for two Bills. We're going to find out right now. Let's welcome the newest CEO of USA Rugby, Bill Goren. Hey, Bill.
Hi. How are you?
So there's enough room for us, okay? We're fine.
We'll get confused for sure.
So if someone says Bill, it's usually for you. So congrats on the new gig. Again, when I read Bill online, I thought they were talking about me because I put my name in the hat and I sent my resume in. I never got a call back, but congrats.
Thank you. It's an exciting opportunity. I'm thrilled to be part of it. I've been in rugby with MLR for the last few years. I'm sure we're going to talk about that. And this was just a progression to keep trying to grow the game.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, talk a little bit about your background. I know you did MLB, MLR, MLL. I'm sure there's others in there. So talk a bit about your background.
Yeah, so coming out of school, I was playing baseball and I was looking for that next opportunity, or I wouldn't even say, what my parents wanted me to do is get a job. So I thought, well, I like baseball. Let's try baseball. And quickly, I did a little internship and then I started working for the Dodgers and I realized this could be a career. This is a business. I don't get to hang out with baseball players all day, but that's okay because they're way, way better than me anyway. And I just progressed through that. It's going into my 25th year in sports right now. And like you said, Major League Baseball, NBA, professional lacrosse, across the board, just a lot. I guess I could go through it all, but basically I ended up at Major League Rugby in the league office. And maybe a week before COVID hit. And I thought, I'm going to have the shortest tenure anyone would ever have in the history of Major League Rugby. And kind enough of the owners to keep me on, and then it just kind of went from there.
So,
Go ahead, Betsy.
Yeah, so Bill, not Bill Baker. Bill, only a few weeks into the job now as USA Rugby CEO. Has anything surprised you, the most so far?
No, nothing's really surprised me. Yeah, like you said, I'm 2 weeks in, so maybe tomorrow I'll say there's a big surprise. They're waiting. But I had been working with USA Rugby and World Rugby for the last 4 years. We had our constant communication with USA Rugby, and then we were doing pretty much kind of 2 meetings a year with World Rugby. So I was pretty aware what I was getting into. What I wouldn't say surprises me, but I'm more entrenched into the community through this position, and just the level of passion and desire to have this thing grow. I knew it when I was with Major League Rugby. As you just heard from Mags, I was working with him all the time. There are so many people that are behind this being successful and seeing our national team have success on the 7s and 15s.
Yeah, you kind of jumped in right away. Sorry, Bill. You jumped in right away, right? Like you part of the process that brought the anthem to Major League Rugby. So it's not like you were just sitting behind a desk, shuffling some papers around. You were busy getting to work. I guess talk us through what's the immediate plan, say, for the next 30, 60, 90 days out with USA Rugby?
Absolutely. I will tell you that the anthem was a unique experience because I was on the MLR side when we brought them in, and then I moved over here as we're trying to, get this thing launched and moving forward. So 2 different seats, but same focus. So no real issue there. When I came in, and probably one of the hardest things for me to do was take the first 30 days to listen and learn, call all the stakeholders, our board members, the stakeholders that are sitting outside, the community leaders, and really just try to listen and not take any bias I have from previous jobs or from MLR, and just hear what they have to say, understand what the impression of USA Rugby is in the community, and then and then just try to bank it so that my next 30 days I will be able to start kind of pushing back on some of those ideas, start testing. But really, at the end of the 90-day period, I want to come out with a pretty clear plan, a very simple kind of North Star goal that we can all kind of get behind and understand what it is. I think USA Rugby has always had a goal, but it sometimes has been hard for everyone to kind of understand and get behind it. And so everyone started trying to solve the problem of rugby in the US by themselves. So let's kind of get together, have a pretty clear path forward, and then have a pretty complicated plan underneath it, how everyone can get aligned and work together, and we can have those synergies between the necessary groups. And that's going to be what I want to try to come out after 90 days. And I hope that we can pull everyone together. I'm somebody who tries to pull everyone together and get on a path and this first 30 days, understand what motivates these different groups, what really they want to accomplish out of it. And then we just start pushing forward. Like I said, the hardest part is listening and learning and not talking. And so I'm as I am doing right now, is just talking a lot. But it's a very, like I mentioned before, very passionate group. Everyone has been willing to get in, help me get my education piece together, and willing to jump in any possible way. So it's been a good experience.
Bill, in recent past, let's say, we've had an English CEO behind you, South African men's head coach, and now we have New Zealander women's head coach, but now we have an American men's head coach, an American CEO. How important is that for us? And nothing against them, nothing against previous people. How important is that to help grow the domestic game?
Well, I think it's really important, but I also think that some of the international individuals we brought in to build this, they're the right person for that position. And we would have had to take a step back if we were just trying to fill it with just an American. But in Scott's case, he's the best Scott, who's the 15s coach. He's the best American for the job. I mean, you could put him up over anyone, no matter what their nationality is. He's a guy that's a great fit, and he's a great representative of what American players and American coaches can someday be. For me, being in this position, Ross, previous to me, who said, it was English. he had a good understanding of it. But a lot of international people don't understand just how big the United States is. This is, this is multiple countries. This is basically 50 countries in one, spot of land. You can take out, Alaska and Hawaii, but maneuvering through the U.S., through the business side of the U.S., traveling through the U.S., it is a big monster. So I think it helps. It definitely helps that I have a good understanding, that I've worked in sports this long and worked at a league office where we were crossing the whole nation. To be able to align people and understand what it is, and how, if you're from Texas, as I am, and you take someone from New York, that's like, I don't want to say London and Paris, right? I don't want to say I dislike New York, but London and Paris.
DC.
Yeah.
Hey.
Sure. Your background, Bill, you mentioned you did marketing in your former past. Is that a big reason why you have this position? And what I mean by that is marketing is so key as far as getting key sponsors, getting broadcast rights, getting more viewers watching the match, getting a regular, well, I don't know if it's really part of getting a regular calendar, international calendar, but being able to market that calendar to broadcasters, let's say. How important is that background for this job?
Look, it's important. You kind of just said it, is understanding how to go out and sell something, what kind of questions you're going to be asked. When I say sell something, to a sponsor, to a fan, to an existing fan, to a player, whoever you're trying to bring in, you got to be able to tell them what the future looks like for USA Rugby, and understanding what your calendar looks like, what venues you're going to be playing in, what our goals are. And a lot of times, we maybe can't articulate our goals, but look, we've got a huge opportunity coming up with the Olympics, and we need to be telling that story. And that's on the seventh side. But look, a win in the U.S. In rugby, that's men's, women.
Whoa, all of us dropped out there for a second. That was the oddest thing. I did nothing. I touched nothing.
Well, I just kept talking, and it was great.
Well, let's start again. All right. No, go on, Bill. I'm sorry.
What were we talking about? We were talking about marketing.
Yes.
Yeah. Look, we've got to be able to put a proposition out to anyone we're trying to get to engage with rugby, and I think that's what kind of my experience has been on all of my different positions, was filling a building, putting signs on the wall, building great events, as Mags was talking about, and I'm a full believer in what Mags is doing, a full event opposed to just a rugby match. And I think that was a part of why I was selected to do this job.
Mm-hmm. Bill, you mentioned the first 30 days spending kind of like listening and learning to USA Rugby constituents, which is important, right? USA Rugby, they've had some struggles over the years, right? To be fair, right? COVID certainly put a dent in some things, coming out of a bankruptcy. But, as we get back on track, so to speak, right? What would you say to those USA Rugby constituents who may have some doubts about wanting to trust USA Rugby again?
Yeah, and there's quite a bit of that. And what I would say is, give us a chance and allow us to show you. They've heard that before, I'm sure. And what all I can do is be present, be responsive, continue to grow this, and prove to them what we're trying to do. And then we can, get them on board. I'm not big on telling people jump on board without seeing. I'll just continue to work incredibly hard. Our staff will work hard, and we'll prove it as we move forward. And we'll earn that respect back. I think you're right. There's a lack of trust, but there's also a massive passion and desire to see us be successful. So no one's rooting for us to fail. Everyone just wants to see us, prove that we can succeed, and they'll get along or get on. Yeah.
And speaking of big events, you mentioned a minute ago that Mags was talking about as well. I know this match was probably in the works before you came on board, but the USA Women's versus Canada in LA, end of the month, potentially a doubleheader with an MLR match. Is that one of these events that USA Rugby's trying to put on as a big event?
Yeah, like you said, that one was coming in right before. I think partnering with an MLR team in a quality venue is helping put on an event opposed to just a match. I think we still have a lot of work to do to make these bigger and bigger events. but it is a start, and it's going to be great to see the women's 15 play here in the U.S. and be able to get behind them. So, yeah, more work to do though.
And jumping forward, actually, you've touched on Olympics, you touched on World Cups, but this is a huge and important time for you to be taking this role because, it's not World Cup's coming up before you know it. The Olympics coming up before you know it. Would you anticipate an exponential growth and visibility of the game, maybe to non-rugby fans, because of these huge events? Especially if one of the Sevens teams medals in LA.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't take the job specifically for that, but looking at this position, you kind of saw like we've talked so much about the 2031 World Cup, but there are so many opportunities to engage fans leading up to 2031. Like I said, we just touched on it. 4 months we're in the Olympics, and what my goal is going to really be is capitalize on the success that we see in the Olympics. If we just win a medal and we don't capitalize on that's kind of our fault, right? We need to engage those fans, pull them in, introduce them to our Sevens tours, all the opportunity to engage with those two teams, but also to our 15s. But it is just going to be taking those opportunities and really like focusing on them instead of just looking forward and forward and forward. And you mentioned the women's game in LA, but we have a game coming up in DC and a game coming up in Chicago. And I would say match, right?
Either one.
Yeah, either one. Bill, I wanted to chat a little bit about, we're going to get into Anthem in a second. And a lot of that is from the relationship that USA Rugby has with Major League Rugby and also World Rugby. For those who aren't too familiar, what does that USA Rugby partnership look like with World Rugby? Kind of what's their role in getting events together and working with USA Rugby?
So they're the international governing body. So we, first off, they provide a lot of structure rules in place so that we can sanction events here in the U.S. So that relationship is incredibly good. We're working on both the high performance side and the community side to make sure, when I say community rugby side, where everything is pushing forward with the right structure in place. So that's number one. And then second, we've got a partnership with World Rugby to put on events here in the U.S. and they're going to help bring quality matches, help get us, help work with us as we're working towards that 2031, establish areas that rugby will be successful. So it's a really close relationship, and their success is our success is their success. And it's really on us at USA Rugby to prove that when 2031 comes along, that we're going to fill every single building that's being played in. I don't know.
Let's talk about, So going back to the Eagles real quick, my own experience over those years doing this kind of stuff with a lot of college kids, talking to them, my old school, that kind of stuff, there seems to be a disconnect between the international side, the international players, the Eagles, and the youth, even up to the college level or whatever else. Some don't even know there's a team, and maybe that's because of visibility, COVID, whatever else has not helped success on the field.
Yeah.
But is there any kind of ongoing, how do we get the Eagles more visible for the youth to see and maybe want to be them one day?
Yeah. And that's something we definitely recognized when I was with MLR, and I recognize today is we've got this shining star in the Eagles that are playing in all these events we're talking about. But the majority of people don't know, and even rugby players don't know that that's what they are, this shining star. We've constantly been, as you said, we talked about marketing and pushing that stuff forward, but there is somewhat of a disconnect, and you mentioned it, but between youth and then youth to high school and high school to college and then college to a senior group. And we are working with all the different councils to pull those together and then start educating all of those individuals about that shining star, which is the Eagles. And it's going to be a challenge, but ultimately, if you're playing rugby and you're not aware of them, you're going to want to be aware of them. It will not be hard to engage people on it.
Yeah, Bill, is that education also extend to say like the corporate world, right? As we're talking about like major sponsors,
Yeah.
for say like USA Rugby, and I know there's probably some, you know, complexities around how a deal would come together to be a sponsor, say USA Rugby, but these, the Fortune 100, 500 companies that want to, spend their dollars in a new and emerging sport. Is it a matter of just education to them, to the business community, to say, hey, look, this is an exciting young sport here, men and women, all demographics. This is a great opportunity to kind of get in before it becomes exponentially maybe more expensive. Is it an education process, or what is that?
It's a couple of things, and it's absolutely an education process, but it's also being able to tell our story and making sure we understand what our story is and being able to tell that to engage people. We can go around and talk about the Eagles and rugby all day, but if we can't engage people on, and I'm sure you guys are very familiar, our athletes are incredibly engaging. They're exciting. They're fun. I had a chance to meet both the men's and women's sevens, and I walked away just absolutely impressed by both sides of it. It was I would be proud to walk any one of those individuals in a room with me and in front of Bank of America or, whatever sponsor, Coca-Cola, and say, hey, this is our story, and tell our story with that individual. These are impressive individuals that we just need to start building our story first so that we can get out there and tell it.
I believe the Bank of America CEO is a former rugby player.
Yeah, that's why I said it. So, one day, hopefully he's watching. One day.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you want to get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather, now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Well, Bill, what about major investors? I know the All Blacks and the Springboks are the ROI on their investments are much higher than the Eagles are right now. So when we look at investment firms like Silver Lake or Ackerley Investments, who are in the United States, Ackerley is an investor in the Seattle Seawolves. How do we keep them here? How do we get that money from companies like them?
Yeah, again, it's engaging and telling that story and telling a compelling story that will bring that here. I've done a little bit of that in previous jobs. And fundraising is incredible. When you're talking about VCs, it's incredibly challenging because you're looking for an ROI. Being able to build out the next 5 years so that you can tell them what that story is on a business side is important when you're looking at as those type of investments. If you're talking about philanthropic investments, that's a little bit of a different story, a little bit more of a passion play, but at the same time, be able to build that story to tell them your money goes in to these people into this program. I think, John, you mentioned a little bit about kind of the faith or the lack of faith in USA Rugby at times, and people believing that maybe not all of their money is going into that program. We're going to be incredibly transparent, and we're going to make sure that every dollar that comes in, that people want to go towards whatever program, we're going to make sure that goes to program, and we're going to build our programs. At the end of the day, we have success on the field. We're going to have success at the stadium or in the office.
So I want to touch a little bit on Major League Rugby, USA Rugby, kind of how that relationship looks like now, right? Is it fair to say it's becoming more of a partnership, or is it still kind of two different entities, but that have like similar but maybe like parallel goals, right? Where it's trying to grow the game, but you've got MLR owners who want to develop their clubs, and you've got USA Rugby, at least on the men's 15 side, who are trying to get Eagles. The goals seem similar, right? So just, from an outside perspective, what does that look like? How does that relationship come together?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a very good relationship. It's gotten definitely better. When we talk about the anthem, I'll explain why. But yeah, it's very similar goals. And MLR owners want to develop the Eagles just as much as our high performance side wants to develop the Eagles, right? So we're on parallel paths and we're pushing forward. They have a little bit of a different focus in the sense that they want to fill seats and generate revenue. That's great. We want to help that happen. We are two separate entities because we have separate teams and separate focuses. But at the same time, we're incredibly close with the owners, the investors at MLR itself. Look, that is the professional sport here in the U.S., and we are behind everything of trying to grow that league.
And you just touched on Anthem, so let's talk about them again. We talked to Scott Lawrence a couple of times about it. We talked to Tamala Shepard. So much went into a short window of time to get this team going. World Rugby did something similar with the Fijian side, and it was success for it proved to work with Fiji. Record aside on the field, how important is this Anthem side really for that? Not necessarily the next World Cup, but maybe the World Cup or two after that.
Yeah, the Anthem, and we can get into the whole story of how it came about so quickly and the challenges they have on the field today. But basically, it was kind of built very quickly with a limited resource of a player pool. And Scott and his group did an incredibly good job of trying to pull together a team. Obviously, we want to win on the field, but not at the expense of developing our players. And if we can take the younger players and start developing them, give them significant minutes, having them play in significant competitions where they are being challenged, this is only going to better our future for that World Cup. And it's a development project for us. And we're not as worried about wins and losses all the time as we are as developing that next group of people. And I would say this year we're a little challenged. Next year we'll have a full run going into the new season, the 25 season. We'll be able to probably bring in more potential Eagles, maybe a couple of current Eagles, and still keep building that culture and that environment. And then that team will continue to grow, and we will get what we need out of it.
I was there for the first match.
Yeah,
I couldn't find you. Had a chance to talk to Scott, the head coach for Anthem, also, and they're excited. It's a beautiful facility, great view of downtown Charlotte. I know that they're also playing other matches away from Charlotte as well, which I think is a great idea to get more fans, bring them in. Mm-hmm. Are you worried at all about? You talked about wins and losses not getting in the way of developing the Eagles, but are you worried about fans not turning out because you're not having success?
No. I mean, look, we want our fans to have a great time. And if we give them a great experience in a great stadium, as you said, we're customer friendly. And you're going to my marketing side. And we're engaging and we're putting on a great event. Our fans will stick with us and they will continue to push, and that fan support will grow. It's not always about wins and losses. It's about engaging with that fan and being part of their lives, right? And they will stick with us. Now, if we don't do all of those things and we just say, hey, we're just going to play rugby, you show up and you see it, yeah, they're going to be so focused on wins and losses that's not, they're not going to continue with us. But this is about building something for the future, and that's our story.
That's great.
Go on, Fitzy. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just I wanted to ask the question real quickly. Just I guess maybe aging down a second or getting younger there. U20s, right? Particularly on the men's side, with the focus. It seems like that crop of players of that age group will be in their prime. 31, right? When we're hosting, US is hosting there, which is going to be very exciting. And then 33 with the women. What does what does success look like for that U20 kind of age group? Is it just more game time? Is it wins on the field? Like how is USA Rugby measuring specifically, say, the U20 age grades?
Yeah, and you're getting into the high performance side, which I'm the business guy. But I will say, what we're really looking to do at that age is identify, as you said, those future girls, build in a system where they are learning under a system that they can then take that skill set towards becoming an Eagle, and then playing significant competitions where they're challenged and we can put them under the pressure that we can, obviously grow from that. Now, wins and losses are valuable, and we want to see success, but at the end of the day, it's not at the detriment of developing talent.
So, Bill, one more question for you. Let you go. Money, broadcast rights. The Rugby Network's great. With there's other avenues as well. What's it going to take to get the Eagles, out from behind a paywall possibly, or have their matches in more pubs, let's say, in front of new eyes? How do we get to that point where, we're able to have Fox or ESPN or whatever say, listen, we'll pay you guys a certain amount of money to broadcast Eagles games?
Yeah, I think we're on our way. We're building out our calendar so that we have something to go to any one of these networks and say, this is the full run here, right? Instead of, in the past at times, it felt like we were going to an event, then another event we announced, and now we'll build out a calendar, we'll have a value proposition, and we'll continue to build our fan base. So much of it is based on data today and how many fans are engaging with you at your games, through social media, through your website, through broadcast. Obviously the ratings count as well, and then being able to pull that full story together. That's the opportunity to go to a broadcast, and we are very close to getting something through. Rugby is continuing to grow. MLR is doing a great job of spreading that word out there and getting on Fox and all the different programs that they have there, as well as the Rugby Network. It's all just feeding the opportunity for USA Rugby to be on the national broadcast as well.
I was looking for a name here. I haven't talked to her in a while, but I wanted to say between Calder, Cahill, and why can't I see her name in here somewhere?
Randy?
I'm sorry? Taylor. Calder and Taylor have been amazing for us, helping out with this.
Yes.
Everyone else. If anyone deserves a raise, it's them. So get some money for them.
My phone's ringing right now. It's Calder.
No, but seriously, they do great, and they're really helpful for us, and we really thank them a lot. So, Bill Goren, thank you so much for your time. We're excited about you taking this role, and we cannot wait to talk to you in two more weeks.
every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
Don't let me follow Mags. He got so passionate at the end of that. Like, I'm never going to match this.
You fit in just fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
All right, Bill. Thanks again. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Some good stuff, like you said. Max was amazing. Yeah. He was great too. Bill was great there too, and it's tough. He's definitely passionate about the game in USA Rugby, and like he said, he's only been in the job for 2 weeks, so it was hard for him really to answer some of our questions accurately, but he still gave it his best. So it's good stuff.
100%. I had a great hour hearing from Alex Magleby and Bill Goren, and I liked Bill's message, like, hey, give us a chance, right? Okay, like we're on the right path. We've got the right people in place. We're putting a plan in place. And I'm excited to hear about this. The after 90 days when when the plan comes out, something that North Star and rallying point for USA Rugby fans. I'm excited to see what that's going to be. Kudos to Bill for coming on. I appreciate him answering the questions, and great hour, great conversations.
I'm excited in general for this year as far as rugby goes. There's a lot of rugby on home soil. Men and women. Mm-hmm. As you're hopefully going to get to that Scotland match, I'm hoping to get to the match in Chicago. At least we'll see what happens. But I'm pumped. There's a lot going to happen. Hopefully, we get this game on a network, or the sport itself on a network in America soon. I know there's a lot. MLL. I mean, the professional lacrosse was on ESPN, Fox Sports, that kind of stuff for a while there. So I can't imagine lacrosse having better numbers than rugby. I could be completely wrong, but
I just feel like the not to go on a tangent here or rain here, but the American sports entertainment complex, the pie is so big. It's not like this. It can't expand and accommodate more fans.
Yeah.
I think the American sports fan has shown a willingness to to experiment and try other sports that are exciting, that are packaged and sold well, and that are exciting. And you can see the player's face, and you can learn the personalities and their stories. And rugby's got all of that. So I think it's just a matter of time. And that MLRs will start and getting a regular calendar events for the USA Men's and Women's Eagles. Like it's moving. So, you know, let's go. It's getting there. So maybe a little more patience.
Yeah. Let's as you see this note, all right. Yeah, you can see the note. The listeners are excited too. So
there we go.
You know, Evelyn is pumped. So it's great. All right. Hey, do you remember the name of the tickets you gave? Who you giving tickets to?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead and announce it right now if you can.
Well, yeah, I've and I told her I was going to send out a congratulations post and all that stuff.
And you do the same.
So it's coming, but let me just pull this up here to make sure I have this right. But yeah.
Thank you, Edwin.
Mia Smith, who is I think it's Smith. Sorry, Mia. But a rugby player for Santa Clara women's rugby team. She's the winner of the 2 rugby morning tickets. So she's going to drive down or drive up, down.
I had no idea.
She's going to be driving down to LA for this. So I'm excited for it. She's super thrilled. So yeah, this is, yeah.
And I have 2 more I'm going to be announcing next week. I forget the person's name for the first tickets, but there's 2 more coming up for this show. We'll announce that next week. But for now, Fitzy, I think that's enough. Let's call it a night. Listeners, again, thank you all so much for the comments on today's show. Some really good stuff in there. I apologize for not getting really most of them on today. We just you know, when you get in those interviews, you just keep going. So much great detail. I didn't want to miss anything. But thank you so much for commenting and listening to the show. Please like, follow, and subscribe to this on YouTube, the podcast especially. We got some big news about the show. Has to do with our podcasts. We'll be announcing soon, hopefully by next week, and we'll let you know as soon as we can. But thanks again, everybody. Have a great night, and we will see you again next week. As always, please like, follow, and subscribe this podcast. Leave us a comment. Send the link to your friends. Follow us at Eagles Overseas and at Rugby Morning.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.